Hey everybody! So today I'm going to be doing my labor and delivery story. Obviously you saw the title, but sorry if I sound congested. I do have allergies and it's like getting really nice out. I'm just going to tell you guys my labor and delivery story. I know I'm really late because Maya was born last August, so she's 9.5 months old. But I just started YouTube back in December, and I really wanted to share this with you guys back then, but she was only like 4 months old, and I was still kind of recovering from the whole labor and delivery. To me, it was traumatic. There wasn't anything serious that happened with Maya, just like a little health scares, not like crazy health scares or anything. It was more like traumatic in different parts, and like I still to this day find it traumatic, and like even when I talk about it I sometimes get like teary-eyed because it wasn't the way I wanted my labor to go. It wasn't the best experience, and like I said, I still I'm not the one to hold grudges, but I feel like with my labor and delivery, I feel like that's the thing I can hold grudges on, because it was like the biggest thing in my life that's ever happened to me, and it went like wrong. And so I will just jump into the video. So I will start from the beginning. So like I said, Maya right now is 9.5 months old. So let's backtrack 9.5 months. My whole pregnancy went awesome. I'll try to insert a few pictures of me being pregnant. It went awesome. I only gained about 17 pounds, 17 and a half, 18 pounds, maybe 19. I don't really remember. Like I said, it went awesome. We had ultrasounds. Nothing was wrong with the baby at all. We didn't have to ever go back for ultrasounds to see if something was wrong. We got 3D pictures. We got, the whole shebang. So then comes 39 weeks, and, me and Gage are anxious, so we're trying everything, to help labor come naturally. Now, we didn't do anything extreme like castor oil, evening primrose oil. We didn't do anything like that. We did the main walking, sex, spicy foods, pineapple. I don't think I ate pineapple, though. Walking, like I said, just things like that, and raspberry leaf tea. So about 39 weeks, we started trying all of that, and I worked at a Montessori, and if you guys don't know what that is, that's just like a preschool basically, and so I was constantly walking and moving, so that also helped throughout my whole pregnancy to kind of keep me active. But at 39 weeks, I, said, okay, I'm going on maternity leave, I'm tired, and yeah, so 39 weeks I did that. Oh, and we tried doing the bouncing on the ball thing. So at 39 weeks, we went and got a yoga ball, and I bounced on that every day. We took walks, we did the raspberry leaf tea, sex, everything like that. I'm sorry if that's TMI for some people. But throughout my whole pregnancy, I didn't know what Braxton Hicks were. I didn't know what they felt like. I didn't know when they happened, when they stopped. And I guess throughout my whole pregnancy, I was having Braxton Hicks, because I guess it's just when your stomach tightens. And to me, I just thought that was normal. I didn't know that was contractions, or like I said, Braxton Hicks. And so I kept having those, and I was like, whatever, it's just nothing. And so on August 3rd, Saturday, August 3rd, Gage and I decided the zoo. We have 2 zoos, and the zoo downtown is free. So we decided to go down there and kind of, walk around some more. And my due date was August 6th, so this was August 3rd. We decided to go walk around and, see everything down there, get an exercise in. So we walked around all day at the zoo down there. And all day, I was my stomach was hardening. Like I said, I didn't know what that was. But it wasn't painful. It wasn't painful at all. Saturday, we went back and we looked up other things. So I ate some spicy food. We walked up to our local market, and we picked up some raspberry leaf tea, but like we've never had a baby, so we didn't know what it looked like. So we're looking around, we're asking, and they're like, oh, it's right here. So we picked that up, we walked back. Now let me, if you're pregnant right now, let me just explain something to you. Doing these things doesn't put you in labor. It helps labor. So if you're already dilated, effaced, and thinned out, it will help. Now, if you're not dilated, if you're not thinned out or not effaced, more than likely it's not gonna help you. All the walking, and even your doctor will say this, all the walking and, sex and everything like that will help you if your body is ready to go into labor. If your body's not ready to go into labor, none of these things will help. So I was already dilated since 37 weeks at like 1.5. So that's why we were trying things, because, my body was already, starting the process. So we came back, and I don't like tea at all. I think tea is the nastiest thing in the world. I came back, I drank it. We had everything ready. We had the bags packed. We had everything ready. We drank it. That night, we also did the deed. Sorry if that's TMI, but, so yeah. Then comes Sunday, and that day just was different. I woke up and I felt extremely tired, and I thought it was just, from walking and everything that we did that previous day. But my body felt different. My body felt very tired. It just wanted to rest. I didn't want to do anything. And I was a very active person throughout my whole pregnancy. Like I said, I was working out of preschool. We were always walking. We were always playing. We were always doing something. That day, I just didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to lay there. And I think I was a little bit devastated that the day before, it didn't help with, labor or anything, because I was really uncomfortable. And so that Sunday, like I said, I was very tired. I didn't want to do anything. So, and I woke up at like 11. I never sleep in. And I woke up at 11 that day. And Gage had cleaned the whole house to, help me out. He did it on his own. I didn't have to tell him to do that. And he cleaned the whole house. And I remember I woke up and I just moved from my bed to the couch. And, he was asking me, what's wrong? What's wrong? Don't get discouraged. The baby will come when the baby wants to. And I was just like, I know, I just feel, something's weird. I just feel exhausted today. And he said, you know what, just lay down. I put on Lifetime movies that whole day, and he brought out the other TV. I know this sounds weird, but he brought out the other TV from our room so he could be next to me to play his Xbox on the other couch. And throughout the day, I started getting the hardening in my stomach. And I didn't, like I said, didn't know what that was, but it was weird. I finally figured something out when I wasn't moving at all that whole day, and it was tightening. So I looked it up on Google and everything, and it said that Braxton Hicks, or contractions, are tightening on the stomach, and they don't have to be painful, because they weren't painful at all. So I'm like, oh, maybe I am having contractions. So I downloaded a timer, a contraction timer on my phone, and just to help to see, maybe this is the real deal. And so I downloaded it, and I was timing it, and at first they were coming, in the morning they were coming, every 2 hours. It was very, very, nothing you would consider labor. As the day went on, it started coming every hour, then it started coming every half hour, and, to me, I was like, oh, it's just my body playing tricks on me. More, TV movies, Lifetime movies, and Gage is playing his Xbox, and they started coming, every, like I said, half hour to 20 minutes. And they were lasting about 30 to 45 seconds. I called the labor and delivery ward, or the nurse, and she told me to track it for another hour. And if it's still coming consistently every, 15 minutes, or if it drops down, or it was either every 15 minutes or every 10 minutes, something like that. If it's, coming consistent. So Gage went and made dinner. And when he took it out, it was about an hour later because it had to cook in the oven. It was about an hour later, and I finally, because food was all that was on my mind right at that point, because I was starving. Even though I had been snacking all day, but I was starving. And when he finally took it out, I had finally, looked at my phone clearly to see how many, if it was consistent. And I had realized on my phone that it was coming about every 10 minutes. And so for about an hour, or probably a little over an hour, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. And Gage was like, okay, well, let's eat dinner and, we'll be good. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom first because I had to pee, obviously. And I went pee. Sorry if this is TMI, but I went pee, and all of a sudden I heard, a plop, and I got scared. I'm like, oh, what was that? So I looked in the toilet, and sure enough, there was, a glob. It looked like snot. Sorry if this is TMI, but it looked like snot, and it had a little bit of blood in it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my mucus plug. I'm in labor. Oh my god. Or I called Gage into the bathroom, and I just said, I lost my mucus plug, and I just started crying. He's like, what's wrong? And I said, I'm in labor. We'll go into the hospital. We'll just leave the food on the stove. I'll cover it quick. We live about 10 minutes or so from the hospital, so we're like, okay, we'll just go in. We'll check you quick, and, in our heads, we thought, it was like, oh, you're not in labor, you're going to come back home. So we just left the food, stupid us, just left the food on the stove covered, thinking we were going to come home. We went to the hospital, they checked me in, and when I got to the hospital, the contractions were getting a little bit painful. That whole day they weren't painful, but when we got there, they were getting painful. So they hooked me up to the monitors, and of course I was having the contractions, but I wasn't dilated. I was only dilated to 1.5 still. About an hour after it, it passed, there was contractions, but the contractions weren't dilating me. So at this point, they were really painful. I was about in tears, little tears, not full on crying, but I was in, little tears here and there because they were painful. And the nurse, I'm sorry, but the nurse I had the first time, she was not nice. She was like, well, here's some sleeping pills, take them, go home, and come back tomorrow. And I'm just like, but they hurt, She's like, the sleeping pills will put you to sleep, and if it's not real labor, I'll help you sleep through it, and you'll be able to go through tomorrow, or wake up tomorrow, and blah, 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 blah. And if you're in real labor, and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, okay. So she gave me the sleeping pills, and she's like, it should kick in about 15 to a half hour. I'm like, okay. So we left, and on the way home, I was in tears some more because they kept getting stronger, and they hurt, and it was in my back. We went home, and I took a bath because, they say take a bath. My water didn't break at all, so I was fine. I got in the tub to, kind of help soothe it if it wasn't real labor. And, yeah. But, no. They got stronger. The sleeping pill didn't work, which I knew, which I told the nurse that, it's painful. My contractions were still coming consistently, but at this time they were every, 5 minutes. And so they were still hurting. I got out of the tub. Gage decided to shower just in case. About 1, 2 in the morning. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell the time we went there. It's about 8 or 9 when we finally went up to the hospital, and we were there for, a while. But this time it was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and Gage had jumped in the shower, and I had to, scream for him to help me get out because it was, so painful. I kind of have a high pain tolerance, but it was all in my back. It was painful. He brought me to the bed, and he said, just relax, just breathe, and he got in the shower. And in my head, I'm like, why the hell are you taking a shower? Sorry for my language. Why are you taking a shower? We need to go to the hospital. This is painful. I can't do this. I'm bawling my eyes out. And so he got in the shower, and he's, spraying on cologne. I'm like, let's go. I'm getting so frustrated. And for some reason, we, I don't know if we put the food away. I don't know. I can't remember. And so we went back in the car, and I think our bags were already in there from before. We went back to the car. He drove me back. I called my mom, or texted my mom, and I said, I'm in labor. I'm in labor, blah, 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 blah. Please come up to the hospital. And she's like, well, tell me, wait till you get there, and they for sure confirm it, just in case. We finally got there, and we had to go through emergency again like we did the first time, because obviously the hospital's closed, and we had to go through emergency by security. And the girl that was there the first time was there again, and she's like, oh, honey, you're in labor, aren't you? Because the first time I walked in, I'm like, yeah, I'm having these painful these contractions. They're not painful. I was all like chippy and cheery. And then the second time we came in, I was like bawling my eyes out. And she's like, like I said, oh, honey, you're in labor, aren't you? And let me get you a wheelchair. She was awesome. And so she got a wheelchair. She sent someone down to, bring us up. And we got up there. They checked me, and I had only progressed like not even to a 2, maybe a little bit after 1.5, if that's even possible. And so they said, okay, let's walk the halls. And do some squats and stuff, and let's see if that helps, progress you any. And if it does, we'll talk to your doctor. If it doesn't, we'll still talk to your doctor and see what he wants to do. The contractions were still I'm going to say at this point, every 2 to 5 minutes. They were frequent. They were really frequent. So we walked up and down the labor and delivery ward for about an hour, I'm going to say. And we were doing squats, and she was telling us pain management on when the contractions came. I had to put like my hands on gauge, and he would rub my back and just breathe through it. And I had finally dilated to a 2. So they called the on-call doctor, and he said, you know what, she's progressed. She's having contractions every 2 to 3 minutes. Let's just put her in a room, and, it's the beginning of labor. I'm like, oh my gosh.